in Washington uncertain. At City Hall, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
A USC study shows more than 40% of LA's immigrant population is from Mexico. Turning now to a long-neglected corner of North Hollywood that's coming back to life as the area gets a new neighbor. The NoHo West development will bring jobs, entertainment, business, places to live, fun, and much more. Anna Marcos reports.
The handprints of the kids from Laurel Hall School will be forever engraved in cement at the future NoHo West Center. And that's good news for this abandoned mall and the community of Laurel Grove. The mall was shut down when Macy's closed 100 stores last year, but it had been in a slow decline for years before that.
It was a successful mall until the Northridge earthquake in 1994. Much of the mall had to be demolished, and so obviously this has been underutilized space for over 20 years.
But soon the future NoHo West will open with a cutting-edge mix of shops, public plazas, restaurants, theaters, and open green space, along with a promenade and tree-lined Main Street.
What we plan on doing is we have a community gathering space in the Central Plaza area, and we plan on having farmers markets and kids movie nights, and for instance, if the World Cup's playing, bringing in food trucks and having events to bring the community together.
The project will also become home to hundreds of residents, with more than 600 residential units in the works.
With this development, we're going to create a destination that people will visit from all over the East Valley and to shop, to live, to work. It really is going to be an economic renaissance for the entire area.
And of course, those handprints will become part of the permanent decor at NoHo West. The project is set to be complete towards the end of 2019. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
NoHo West will be home to about 60 stores and restaurants and will also include another 10 office tenants. Major changes are also happening in the area around Pershing Square. Hundreds of new apartments are being built for people looking to finally make the move to downtown. Gil Reyes has more. Gil.
Yes, Yana, better late than never, right? Actually, the LA City Council approved this project back in 2008, but the Great Recession torpedoed it. Flash forward 9 years later, and city leaders break ground on the second phase of this development complex, which will have 660 residential units when completed. Park living in downtown is about to pick up, way up. Coming soon, a pair of multi-story apartment buildings across the street from downtown's most historic park, Pershing Square.
We're excited about LA. We're excited about putting capital here.
It's called the Park Fifth Project. Developers break ground on the larger of its two buildings, 24 stories tall, with nearly 350 apartment units when finished. Meanwhile, crews continue work on the first building, which began construction last summer. 7 stories on that one, with more than 310 units planned. With much of Los Angeles sorely lacking green space, downtown councilman Jose Huizar mentions his favorite amenity. And like the rest of downtown, it too is changing.
Most beautiful thing about this, it's right across the street from Pershing Square Park. You know, it's going under some renovation. We have a task force called the Pershing Square Renew. We just adopted new designs that will flatten the park, make it visible from all sides of the park, and really make it a destination point. So downtown LA is moving. It's not the same downtown that people used to know. 5 years ago, the light switch was turned off about 6 p.m. Nobody was here. A lot more activity, and we're getting that downtown we've always wanted.
Expected completion date for Park Fifth, early 2019. Across the street from Pershing Square Park, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The Park Fifth project will also have 13,000 square feet reserved for retail space. And just a few blocks to the west, even more growth is happening in downtown LA thanks to a joint American-Chinese venture. Rasha Goel has more on the recent addition that combines a new development with a touch of LA history.
Go. City leaders are celebrating the opening of Hotel Indigo. The hip boutique brand will be operated by Intercontinental Hotels Group and is part of the $1 billion Metropolis development in downtown Los Angeles.
You know, a few years ago, you could turn off the light switch in downtown LA and there was nobody here. People who came here to work would leave in the evening, and it was a ghost town, and now it's alive. People walking the streets, more people living here.
You created 400 permanent jobs, 3,000 construction jobs. There'll be about 5.5 million hours worked on this project. That's about $500 million in payroll to people who live here, who will then spend that money here and recycle that money here.
The 18-story hotel with 350 hotel rooms is intended to serve growing hotel demand near the LA Convention Center and Staples Center.
We can bring more conventions when we have more hotel rooms, and this will accomplish just that.
10 years ago, 10,000 people lived here. Today, 55,000. The year 2040, we expect 125,000 people to live in downtown LA.
Indigo's interiors weave together elements from LA's history, starting with the late 1800s through the 1920s and incorporating the early days of the movie industry.
This is the most happening spot in California, and we'd argue that it's one of the most happening spots across the United States because we've got the energy and we've got the availability, and now we're demonstrating with projects like this that we can make things happen.
Hotel Indigo is located on Francisco Street, north of the LA Live Entertainment Center and south of the Financial District. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Switching gears now as we take a look back on LA's history. Many ethnicities helped shape our city, but not without their own challenges. The African American community played a large role and has a long story to tell of its time in LA, one often filled with times of unrest and discrimination. A panel event at a South LA library made an attempt to tell part of that story. Anna Marcos has more.
Snipers who continued to shoot from rooftops.
See Watts riots, Daddy warned. Daddy warned, terrible these riots where we burn our houses down. When we burn our houses down, ash is all that's left in our hearts.
You are listening to the personal stories of poets and authors on life and the Black experience, especially what that experience was like during the riots that erupted in Watts in 1965 and in South LA in 1992.
I'm a poet and an artist first, so I'm not a scholar. I'm here to just, as I said, meditate, to think about my life. I was here in 92.
The panel at the Vernon Branch Library, called Blackfire, Riot and Revolt in Los Angeles, was also based partly on a 2001 book called Seeking El Dorado, African Americans in California. Author Lynn Thompson tells the story of her dad migrating to California at a time of rampant discrimination.
Because they were going to California, the Golden State, maybe they didn't know many towns within its borders were sundowners, and there ain't no niggers allowed was the policy.
And there was the time Thompson's father finally bought a house, only to have it taken away for construction of the Santa Monica Freeway in 1959.
Daddy, who only raised his voice when he knew he was right, said, his offer is just another name for 40 acres in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. So we had to move.
There are men and there are women with sacred places inside.
For author Peter Harris, who's written several books, life as an artist is also about helping art heal one's community.
Also, I'm interested in the theme of Black men and joy. And I'm driven by a question, what is a happy Black man?
From riots and unrest to joy may be a long journey, but for these authors, art and the written word provide a path and a way out. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Author Peter Harris has written The Black Man of Happiness and Bless the Ashes, while author Lynn Thompson has written Beg No Pardon. Over at Union Station, Metro's effort to make LA the transit capital of the world got on track. Rasha Goel has the latest on new rail cars that aim to enhance the passenger experience.
This signing between officials from Metro and China Railway Rolling Stock Corporation, also known as CRRC, marks the start of a $178 million purchase of 64 rail cars for upgrading and improving the LA subway system.
Our current trains are now nearing the end of their useful life of approximately 25 years.
CRRC is headquartered in Beijing and is the world's largest supplier of rail transit equipment.
The product has been supplied to 102 countries and regions.
Of the 64 rail cars, 30 of them will be used to replace existing trains on the Red Lines and the Purple Line. The remaining 34 will be used in the new Purple Line extension from Mid-Wilshire to Beverly Hills.
We anticipate nearly 50,000 weekday boardings once all 7 new stations, subway stations, to Westwood are built. We also anticipate there will be nearly 80,000 new daily trips on the entire Metro rail system as a result of the opening of the Purple Line extension.
Officials say the new rail cars will help improve the passenger experience.
These new trains will feature active line maps that show passengers where they are at that particular moment along the line. Each car will feature LED displays that will provide passenger travel information.
In addition, the contract will help create more local jobs.
We have approximately 10% of all the jobs that will be created will go and be targeted for disadvantaged workers. And that is very, very important to us.
With the first rail car being delivered by the spring of 2020 and the rest within the following year, Metro is moving ahead on the right track. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
This contract also adheres the federal government's Buy America provisions, requiring 60% of component parts to be American-made, creating more job opportunities locally. Also at Union Station, the iconic landmark was buzzing as a so-called pop-up barbershop offered haircuts and shaves, all for a good cause. Anna Marcos takes a look at how the event aims to stop world hunger with a flick of a razor.
The hot towel here is to open the pores up, soften the hairs, gets it ready for the shave.
You're looking at a vintage old-fashioned barbershop come to life in the middle of the iconic waiting room at Union Station. Of course, this is just a pop-up barbershop for one day. The event is for a good cause.
Yeah, we just come in and give shaves, haircuts, beard trims.
I have not seen my hair yet, so fingers crossed.
The barbers come from the Svelte Barbershop, a local business, and haircuts and shaves are an easy $25 each. Funds raised at the one-day event go to Heifer International, a charity that works to stop poverty and world hunger.
I saw this online, and I thought it'd be a good time to get a haircut, help raise some money for a good charity.
Things are getting a little mummy-like here, but according to the barber, it's the only way to shave.
Do you know that you look like a mummy?
I can only imagine.
Feels good?
Feels great.
This is called a straight edge razor. Or a cutthroat. But that's
all this male pampering, cutthroats and all, has a historic origin at Union Station. There was once a real barbershop here when the station opened in 1939. It thrived in the 40s before closing.
I'd like to see a real barbershop come back. You can see we're repopulating the station with restaurants. It's really becoming much more of a destination for people. Well, Union Station is an architectural icon.
And so, this historic railroad pit stop just might one day go back to its heyday glory. Back when a genteel barber, a cut, a shave, and a train ticket all went hand in hand. But for now, it's making a difference in stopping world hunger. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information on the charity, visit heifer.org. One local all-boys Catholic high school in downtown LA is getting a touch of Hollywood as community members break ground for a new building. Anna Marcos has more on the new addition at Cathedral High School and what it means for the students' future.
This demolition at Cathedral High may be the star of the show right now, but soon the wrecking ball will make way for the real star, a new visual and performing arts theater center at the all-boys Catholic High School.
That's going to bring a new era of curriculum to this high school, who was doing performing arts out of a shack.
Over 70 years ago, our beloved annex was built to serve our students. So a lot of history is behind us.
My most memorable moments were the ones that I had with the brothers I made in my video production class.
making Star Wars parody videos, and anchoring for our morning broadcast.
The newer, bigger, better art center will provide more space for creative arts, TV production, music and acting performances, and includes a state-of-the-art theater.
Let's invest in young people who, if they get a shot at the arts or math or whatever it is, will have doors open to them and they'll be able to reach for the stars and follow their dreams.
The school aims to create leaders in the community, but city officials say this new addition will make them leaders in arts and culture.
For us, it's super important to support the arts at a time when Donald Trump is divesting from arts and culture.
A little music showmanship from the students and a theatrical water blessing from the priest. And why not? They are welcoming an art center made for Hollywood. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
From all the bells and whistles of a new facility to an old-fashioned game of ball, some kids at Grand Park got a lesson in playing ball as the LA Dodgers showed them that you don't need a lot to enjoy the game. Gil Reyes has more.
No baseball field, no problem for these children making the most of what they have, with help from the Dodgers organization and Major League Baseball.
To make sure the kids understand that it doesn't take 18 players, a Major League field, a scoreboard to play our game.
Good. Nice throw.
MLB's Play Ball initiative shows kids they can still enjoy different parts of the game at the playground or in their front yards. That includes base running, fielding, and batting. 150 kids show us how in downtown's Grand Park. Among them, Benjamin Murillo and classmates from Solano Elementary School.
I learned baseball and how to be active.
And that's important, why?
So they don't just sit in the house all day.
Besides exercise, practicing also builds character.
They can set standards for themselves and figure out ways, how can I accomplish this goal, and feel how good it feels to work hard for something and accomplish something as well.
And that's a game anyone can play with or without a baseball field. In downtown's Grand Park, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Major League Baseball has hosted 250 play ball programs over the past year. The mayor announces his action plan for the city during his State of the City. One of LA's oldest parks gets a new upgrade, and spring has sprung in the San Fernando Valley. All these stories in City Beat. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti said the state of the city is undeniably strong, while also acknowledging the need to do more to help the city's most vulnerable communities. Speaking from the City Hall Council chamber, Garcetti delivered his annual State of the City speech the same day he released his proposed 2017-2018 budget. He addressed two major financial priorities: a plan to increase spending on homeless initiatives to $178 million, up from last year's $138 million, and raise $100 million a year and leverage up to $300 million every year for affordable housing.
I know, my friends, we can do this together, and we can drive down the price of housing in every district, in every neighborhood of our city. And when we do, we will preserve the quality of life in our communities. We will reduce traffic because people are closer to their jobs and their families. We will help the people who revitalize neighborhoods not get kicked out of those neighborhoods.
Other key points: by the end of 2018, the city will deploy an earthquake warning system on every corner. The city will respond to all graffiti requests within a day. The proposed budget includes $17 million for Vision Zero, Garcetti's plan to reduce traffic deaths, and the city will continue to work toward the Department of Water and Power's goal of being coal-free by 2025. The Department of Rec and Parks, along with Council District 1, celebrated the grand opening of a new synthetic sports field at MacArthur Park. Located in the Westlake District area of the city, MacArthur Park is one of the city's oldest parks. The new synthetic field was once a synthetic meadow designed for passive activities, but is now transformed into a certified sports field. Over in Council District 3, folks celebrated the season with a spring festival held at the Reseda Recreation Center. Plenty of food, rides, and activities kept kids and their parents entertained. As usual, the huge Ferris wheel was a hit with festival goers, and so were the funnel cakes. Well, next to the hipster bars of Silver Lake is a modest art space with big ambitions. Gil Reyes shows us what's happening inside the Neutra Institute Museum.
As much as she tried, artist Ava Perez could not get pregnant. So she turned her frustration into an art exhibit featuring eggs, Petri dishes, and all things biological about female fertility. The show, called Fertile Infertility, is one of the quirky programs you'll often find in this gallery, owned by renowned architect Dion Neutra, located on Glendale Boulevard in the music and arts community of Silver Lake.
This is uniquely located for what it is, and I think maybe one of the reasons why it's so popular.
It is the neighborhood museum you've probably never heard of unless you lived in this community. But Dion Neutra's Neutra Institute Museum has been staying busy, booking some 50 shows over the past 3 years, and we're told 2017 is pretty much booked solid.
The property across the street from the popular Red Lion Tavern is on the National Registry of Historic Places. It was built in 1950 by Neutra and his dad, Richard Neutra, as a workspace. The elder Neutra, an icon of modernist architecture, who designed several world-famous homes on this very site. Today, son Dion is on a quest to expand the gallery into a satellite museum, an East Side extension for either the much larger LACMA or Broad Museums miles away.
So if anybody listening knows Mr. Broad, I'm here. I would love to have a conversation. So there's lots of opportunities here. I need tenants to take spaces. We advertise on Craigslist, so check us out on Craigslist. You can see the conditions.
Possible new life for a hidden treasure in Silver Lake, and one of architect Dion Neutra's babies. In Silver Lake, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
For info on upcoming shows or renting a workspace, call the number on your screen at 310-795-4768. Well, check out the unique home of historian Charles Lummis. LA's finest chefs and dishes take center stage during the LA Food Bowl and help clean up one of LA's most eccentric neighborhoods. All this in this week's Things to Do. Step inside the humble kingdom of Charles F. Lummis, journalist, photographer, and historian. In 1884, the 26-year-old journalist walked over 2,000 miles from his home in Ohio to California to start a new job as city editor of the Los Angeles Times. After he settled into his new environment, he set out to build his dream home, El Elizal, known today as the Lummis House. Join a guided tour of the Lummis House with a docent and an LA historian. Highlights include a tower constructed from boulders, windows fused with photographs, old utility poles used as beams, and Lummis himself interred in the wall. Every door, table, and chair has a story to tell. The tour takes place Saturday, May 6th from 10 to 11 a.m. For more, visit atlasobscura.com. The Los Angeles Times announced the launch of Food Bowl, an annual month-long festival celebrating the city's dynamic and influential food scene, taking place throughout the month of May. Centered in Los Angeles, the festival will bring together the best in local dining experiences while promoting social awareness about food waste and hunger. LA's largest culinary event to date, Food Bowl will include special programs with internationally renowned chefs during rare U.S. appearances. For more, visit lafoodbowl.com. Join the Los Feliz Village Business Improvement District for a huge neighborhood cleanup. Volunteers are invited to pitch in on this beautification effort in Los Feliz Village, a unique district known for its fiercely independent, creative spirit, as well as its diverse businesses like familiar restaurants and services and vintage and collectible shops. Come on out and make certain this neighborhood gem that is neatly tucked between Griffith Park and Barnsdall Art Park maintains its quiet charm. The cleanup takes place on Sunday, May 7th from 9 to 12. For more, visit losfeliz.biz. And that's a look at some things to do. And before we go, the kids at Graham Park had so much fun playing with the Dodgers, we thought we'd share with you some more fun from the event. Take a look.
So I say D, I say D-O, D-O-D, D-O-D-G, D-O-D-G-E-R-S, team, 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 oh. I say O-M, O-M-A, O-M-A-L, O-M-A-L-L-E-Y, oh really? No O'Malley. Sandy Koufax, oh my Drysdale Morey, Wills, I love you so, and we defy the J-I, J-I-N, J-I-N-T, J-I-N-T-S, Giants! Play ball! Orlando Cepeda is at bat with the bases jammed. Orlando Cepeda with a wham, bam, he hit a grand slam in the very first inning.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Graffiti removal? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Open wide.
Good morning, good morning. Please take your seats. Shh. Please take your seats. It is Wednesday, May 3rd. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to your Los Angeles City Hall and your Los Angeles City Council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mr. Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Carres, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Bonin moves and Mr. Englander seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Krikorian moves and Mr. Corrett seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, the Department of Building and Safety recommends that Council continue items 1C, 1D, 1K, 1M, and 1V to June 2nd, and to receive and file items 1J, 1L, 1N, 1O, 1P, 1W, and 1X, inasmuch as the liens have been paid in full.
Okay, so without objection, that will be the order. Continue.
Very good, sir. Item 1.
One second. Mr. Bonin? Item 1U.
Mr. President, 6 months would bring us to November 3rd.
Okay, thank you. So continue.
That brings us to item 1. It's an item noticed for public hearing.
Do you have cards?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, then continue.
Items 2 through 6 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports from the Public Safety and Personnel and Animal Welfare Committees have been submitted, posted, and circulated for item number 6.
Okay,
a motion is required for that item.
Mr. Koretz.
Yes, I'd like to call item 2 and 6, which I think has already been called, both special.
Okay. Let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Continue.
Mr. President, items 7 through 14 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. We have cards on these items?
Yes, sir. Cards on all items.
Continue.
That brings us to items 15 and 16. They're items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
I'll defer to Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Item 15 is a routine settlement, although it was waived by Budget and Finance. It appears to be the sort of settlement that we could approve in open session if that is the desire of members. Otherwise, if there's questions or concerns, we can hear it in closed. We've not made a recommendation because we waived it. Item 16, I would like to hear briefly in closed session.
Okay, so why don't we hold those items?
Very good, sir. That takes council back to presentations or items called special.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote on item 15. So on item 15, let's open the roll.
Mr. President, if I may, in the case entitled Paul Papil versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend $225,000 in settlement.
Okay, let's vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay. I think we can move into the presentation portion of today's agenda. And if it's okay with Mr. Englander, if it's okay with you, I would like to get Mr. Caleb Arian Bonin to maybe man the president's desk, and if he wants, he can bring along his father, and if that's acceptable to Mr. Englander.
I would insist. And while you're crowning the Bonins, if you could enlighten me as well while we're switching there. I do have an item for reconsideration from yesterday, if we could clear that up real quick.
Okay, well, I will allow Mr. Arian Bonin and his team to do that.
Perfect.
I'm sorry I called you, Caleb. How are you?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Mr. President, I'm not sure which one I'm talking to. I know I see two.
Okay, Mitch.
There you go, Mr. President. If you could, I'd like to reconsider item yesterday, number 1B, Council File 17-0160-5148 from yesterday's agenda, and I will ask, once we vote on it, for a 30-day extension. So if we could, I'd like to reconsider that from yesterday's agenda.
All right, so we need two votes. The first is on reconsideration. Open the roll. Call the vote. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. And if we can now vote to continue that for 30 days.
And Mr. President, 30 days would bring us to June 2nd.
Okay. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Thank you.
So ordered.
So ordered. Okay, Mr. President.
That was an okay, Mr. President, he said.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank you, Mr. President and members. As soon as we get our, there we go. Now we're in business. Again, thank you, Mr. President and members. Today is a special day. I want to bring before you the Los Angeles African American Women's Political Action Committee, also the African American Women's Public Policy Institute, LawPAC, and LawPi. So if I can have these fine members of our community, please join me in up at the podium. Ed? I'd also like to ask the Assistant President Pro Tem, Nury Martinez, to please join me at the podium.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, this is LawPAC's day at City Hall. And during this day, they'll meet with the mayor's office and the controller's office, the city attorney's office. They'll meet with representatives from Public Works. They'll meet from our office. So this is a very big day, not just for this organization, but for City Hall. But it is so critical that we as people are engaged in government that in 1990, a young lady who is with us today, Ms. Celestine Palmer, to my right, let's give Celestine a round of applause, felt that it was very important to create this organization, and I think she did it with another dear friend of mine who's behind me, and that's Joy Atkinson. one of the founding members, I believe as well. And Miss Hawthorne might have been part of this as well. And Betty Jo McKinney. Anyway, see, I know once I start naming names, I would get in trouble. But it was important for them to try to deal with the issues that face challenged communities, communities of color, and in this case, the African American community. So they formed this organization because they wanted to assist. They wanted to perform acts of public service. They also felt that it was necessary to incorporate the strength of women and to organize women in an organization of power, and I'm going to let them speak later. I don't want to get into anybody's mind, but they recognize the importance that everybody should be involved. Yes. They also recognized how important it is to acknowledge individuals who have blazed trails and individuals who have fought for the rights of all. So they created their own Hall of Fame. And in that Hall of Fame, I'm proud to say that my former boss and mentor, Yvonne Burke, is a member of that Hall of Fame. Also, our one of the biggest voices in our community that people are referring to these days is Auntie Maxine, Congresswoman Maxine Waters is in this Hall of Fame, coupled with our former school board member, former state senator, former ambassador, and former Congresswoman Diane Watson is in this Hall of Fame. And some of our more modern contemporaries, like the first black woman to ever be Speaker of the California State Assembly, Karen Bass, and our own senator, Mr. Harris Dawson's senator, and my senator, and Mr. Price's senator, Holly Mitchell. So these are just a few of the people that are not only important for this city, this state, this country, but it was important for our community to recognize the gifts that they have given us all. But also, in 2002, in the great Washington, D.C. area, in a building that was built over an area where they used to auction slaves, this group determined that it would begin to prepare young ladies to be active in politics at every level, from candidates to campaign managers to city commissioners to business people to fundraisers. They felt that that was important, and I was there that day when that announcement was made, and I think I was one of the first contributors to that plan. Now, today, members at USC, in conjunction with USC, they teach women, primarily women of color, what it takes to be part of the system. If you want to be a commissioner, how to be one, and how to have your name considered, the types of experience that you need. They do all of this from A to Z. If any of you are afforded an opportunity to come before this class and speak, I highly recommend that you do it. Because when you speak to these young ladies and you get an opportunity to feel their passion and commitment to public service, it kind of reinvigorates you. In fact, I had such a good time that the last time that I was there, that Joy had to literally throw me out because I did not want to leave. We were engaged in such a great conversation. But these are the types of things that we as people have to do in order to ensure that all people have an opportunity to participate to be engaged, but more importantly, to be prepared. And so in this short period of time, they have prepared over 300 women, or close to 300 women, to be involved in this process that we call government. And I can't say enough for all of the things that you've done. Some of the ladies that you see today walking around City Hall have been in these trainings. A lot of the young ladies that will be our future electeds, our future campaign managers, our future fundraisers, our future commissioners were trained by this group of people that came together, founded by Celestine Palmer 26 years ago. So our leaders for the future, leaders of tomorrow, many of which will be trained by this great organization. So I want everybody that's here to do me a big favor. Let's give them the type of round of applause that they deserve. Mr. President, I would now like to bring one of our own trailblazers and have her say a few words, an individual that it is my honor to work with, our honor to work with, and we as a council are so fortunate to have her at our side, and that is the Assistant President Pro Tem of this great council, and that's Nury Martinez. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Council President, for including me in this presentation. I'm going to make it short. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the African American Women's Political Action Committee. When I first got elected 4 years ago, one of the very first women that I had a pleasure of meeting with and who introduced herself and made sure that she wrapped her arms around me was Joy. Yeah. And I will never forget, she came into my office. I was in the freshman office on the other side of City Hall.
The
freshman office. Yeah. And she said, you know, we need to do more, not only to elect more women, but elect more women of color. And Cheryl's another friend of mine, who was also, I was very fortunate to meet along the way. And they've done nothing but support our efforts and ensuring that I was being taken care of, and I appreciate that. They have my back, and I always know that. But more than anything, we got together and started thinking about activities and things that we need to be doing so that women are in the pipeline to be able to one day replace us here in these chambers or move on to the state legislature or the school board or a water board or what have you. They have the same mission that I do, which is to prepare women early on, get them in that pipeline to ensure that we have the women to tap into when there is an open seat or an available seat that a woman should run in. And so I appreciate them so very much. They've been hard at work all morning. They've already met with some of our general managers. Some of you colleagues have already met with them. They have an entire day full of activities. And they bring other people along, and that's why I admire their work so much. Last year in August, we were able to partner up for Women's Equality Day. We had the screening of suffragette that was in this council chambers, and we will continue to bring young women into these council chambers so that they can see themselves one day running for office and having the mentorship that is needed to be able to do so. I appreciate you, ladies. Thank you so much for having my back. I'm going to hand it over to the council president, and we'll continue to do good work for this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Nury. Now we'll hear from Cheryl. Cheryl Turner, come on up. Let's give Cheryl a round of applause.
Good morning to you all. I had the pleasure of appearing before you as a commissioner, but I have continued to serve within my community, and one of my most favorite organizations is LawPAC and LawPI. On behalf of that organization, we would like to thank the office of Mayor Garcetti, Ana Guerrero, and of course we want to thank our very own Councilman Herb Wesson. Thank you, Nury. President Herb Wesson. Of course, we know you're the president. Nury Martinez, as well as all of you, for making this day a momentous occasion for all of us. We appreciate your hospitality, and we will never forget it. And so, before I turn the mic over to our founder. I'd like for the members of LawPAC, LawPi, and their guests to stand, please. Be acknowledged. Very good. And now, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our founder, first Celestine Palmer, and then Jacqueline Hawthorne.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to say a very special thanks to our Mayor Eric Garcetti and also to President Herb Wesson and also to the entire City Council members of Los Angeles. We appreciate what you're doing, and we are very, very appreciative of this honor that you've given us today. And I just wanted to say that we will continue to do what our mission is to identify and to find women that we can support, and we will support them all the way. Once we get behind them, we stay there and keep them moving as far as they can go. So we want to thank you again for this great honor to be here today. And I'll let you hear from some of our other members. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Jackie Hawthorne, and I too would like to add my thanks to those of our founder, Celestine Palmer. I want to thank you for what you are doing to recognize the uniqueness of our organization, and to thank you for recognizing us in this very unique month of May. You may not understand what I mean by that, so I'm going to tell you. May is the only month that no other month starts on the day that it starts or ends on the day that it starts. May started this year on Monday, and it will end on Wednesday. None of the other months will start on Monday or end on Wednesday, making May a very unique month. So thank you for recognizing our unique organization on this very unique month. My name is Jackie Hawthorne. I approve this message.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joy Atkinson, one of the founders of LawPAC, but also the executive director of LawPi, the Public Policy Institute. Very honored to be here today to be with Celestine and the founders of LawPAC. Many years ago, LawPAC knew that we needed to start a pipeline and to train women. Couldn't do it as a PAC, so they started a nonprofit. And we've had a wonderful relationship with the University of Southern California, and it's one of my proudest, I think, jobs I've ever had is to help bring women along so that they are future leaders. And just so the City Council knows, there are many, many women who are working right here in City Hall that are graduates of LawPi. One of the women that I am very proud of is Marla Blevins, who's CFO of the LA Ports. And, of course, Monique Earle, who's with the Department of Transportation, and Leslie Wall, who works for Curran Price, and I guess I could name a whole bunch of other people. But I just wanted to say that we have women at all levels of government who are working in government or who head up nonprofit, community-based organizations, and we're very proud of our accomplishments, and we are almost near 300. We're at 260. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy.
Is there anybody else, Mr. President? We have a speaker, one of the members. Can you say Mr. Harris Dawson?
Yes.
Say Mr. Harris Dawson.
I heard.
That's as good as you're going to get.
Good. That's good. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Martinez and Council President Wesson for bringing this presentation. I cannot emphasize enough how important the Institute and the PAC is to our entire community in all of Southern California. You all standing there already know this, but I want to say it so everybody can hear it. In my role now as City Council member and as my role as President of the Community Coalition, I absolutely relied on the Political Institute to recruit staff, and we actually sent people to the Institute after we had hired and worked with them. And I just make a pitch. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for doing this, but every general manager, labor leader, elected official, if you have staff members that want to get a little extra training, that want to get the written rules of civic and political life, and then the unwritten rules of political and civic life, as only people like Betty Jo can explain to you, it's a good idea to sponsor someone to go to the Institute. I think it's 8 weeks a year on Saturday. 10 weeks a year on Saturdays, but a very, very beneficial program that's available to everybody, and we invite you to take advantage of that. And we thank all of you for helping build that, sustain it, and produce the leaders that you have produced.
Thank you, Mr. President. And with that said, I'd like...
Mr. President, apologies. Now Mr. Price is on the queue.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to join my colleagues in heaping praise upon LawPAC and LawPi. In a short period of time, in only 26 years, both organizations have really become institutions in our community. As I said this morning at the breakfast, it's amplified by the women who are members and who have benefited from the program and who certainly represent the best of the program. And so I just want to say congratulations, keep up the good work. We need you. You know, we know that the women are the ones who run this world anyway. And they run campaigns and they run everything. So your input is invaluable, as I said, invaluable on issues, on the budget matters, on homeless issues, on immigrant issues, on cannabis issues. We need your input, we need your ideas, we need your involvement as electeds and as appointed and as activists. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Price. And I do think, Mr. President or Mr. Bonin, that it is important. A couple of the ladies here have whispered in my ear, and they wanted to know who the young man was that's sitting up there in the chair. And I jokingly said he was my mini-me, but no, that's Mr. Bonin's son. So let's give Jacob.
He's watching Super Grover now, so his attention has been diverted.
Okay. So I would like to present to, where's Celeste? Oh, there.
On the other side?
No, I'm going to turn to you. A proclamation from the City of Los Angeles. It's signed from each and every one of us. It references just some of the phenomenal things that the organization has done and things that I know that you will do in the future. So it is with great honor that I present this to you. Let's give them another round of applause. So I'm going to put you in the middle. Let's get close. Everybody get in. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
To your right, please. Hold it down a little so I can see your face.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's go in the back. Mr. Johnson, if you'd follow Mr. Johnson over here, we're going to go in the back for a hot second.
Mr. President, in the meantime, there's been a request to continue items 1B, 1H, and 1T to June 2nd.
Without objection? Where does that bring us now, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, would you like to go to CD 13 for their presentation at this point?
No. They're not doing a presentation today. So we will go to, we're going to go to general public comment. And the first three speakers are Tayana Vizcarra, Antonia Ramirez, and David Jorgensen.
All right, again, we're in general public comment, so if we can have their speakers please come on up. Tiana. All right, if you're no longer here, then Antonio Ramirez. Followed by David Jorgensen.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, on May the 2nd, I was denied entrance and access into the Social Security Administration at 4000 Wilshire Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90010 by a stupid scumbags, the two Latino wetbacks who are employed as dirty rogue security officers for Paragon Systems, private security companies that the Social Security Administration hires, and that was Lopez and Iribe. Now, security officer, dirty rogue Latino wetback Lopez is the one who banned me entrance into the Social Security Administration because, again, gang stalking. I had to wait for the police officer till after 4, so from 11:50, I called the police department, LAPD. They did not arrive till after 4 o'clock. I was there for a matter of principle. Again, this is a matter of principle. Why are we being denied access when we ask for a supervisor? I simply asked for a supervisor, and I was denied that right and thrown out.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. Please, no applauding the speakers. Thank you. David Jorgensen, come on up, followed by Hortensia, and then Joe Jimenez.
David Jorgensen. Just asking for you guys. We've been extremely patient about getting this divestment on the agenda. Hopefully we can make that happen sooner than later. If we can't get this done, basically my focus and a lot of our other focuses will be on finding people that will sit in those seats that will make a difference here. So I really hope you guys will put your foot on the gas and get busy here, because our patience is wearing thin, man. Let's make a change here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next speaker, please. Well, okay, no applauding, sir. If you're going to disrupt the meeting by applauding, we're going to ask you to step out. That'll be your final warning. Thank you very much. So with that, let's go ahead and go to item 6, if we could, since the speakers aren't coming up. Item 6 is going to be before us, colleagues.
And, Mr. President, we do have 2 reports, one from the Public Safety Committee and one from the Personnel and Animal Welfare Committee before Council for its consideration.
Okay, and the public hearing has already been heard. It's been called special by Mr. Koretz. Mr. Koretz, did you wish to say something on this?
Yes, this item is intended to keep us all focused on a goal the city's been pursuing since before Jimmy Hahn was elected mayor, which is achieving the accepted legal definition of euthanasia low enough to be called no kill. And we are closer than ever. Oh, is this number 6?
Yeah, but that could be appropriate for this too. Excuse me, hold on 1 second. Sir Herman, that's the 3rd time you've yelled out this meeting. One more time. One more time. Thank you, Sergeant. Okay, please.
On the MTA contract, we heard that today in Personnel and Animal Welfare, and my only concern is that we are not supplying the resources to actually do the hiring for this in our current budget. So I would encourage us to take another look at restoring the funding for LAPD-related personnel activities. The department has assured me they will find some way to do it anyway, but I think it's a mistake. So other than the fact that I think it is a good project, I think we should be sure that we fund the actual hiring process for this project adequately.
All right, thank you very much for that. And colleagues, again, this is on the Metro Transit Agreement with LAPD from the RFP. So with seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll. close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that is approved. Thank you so much.
And, Mr. President, for clarification, both committee reports have been adopted. They seem rather duplicative. The Public Safety Committee report does have one additional recommendation, and that is only a instruction to report back to committee.
Which isn't, it's easy. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and thank you very much. Let's go ahead and go back into general public comment. All right. Yvonne Elliott? Yvonne Elliott? Okay, come on up for your 1 minute. I'm just going to call the names up. Whatever order you walk up in, that would be great. Hortensia, followed by Joe Jimenez, once again, for this. Mr. and Mrs. Worthy, or Ty. Hugh Kenny. Are these folks not here? If you're not going to come up and speak, I'm only going to call your name once. So you come on up, you get your 1 minute. Yeah, that's not a problem. Come on up, all the way. Don't be shy. It's all good.
Oh, I'm not shy. I just didn't want to break in line.
Yeah, no, I was saying for whoever comes up first and whatever orders.
Yeah, and I heard you. And thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. I have an absolute horror story to share with you in this great city of Los Angeles. In 1 minute, I'll come right to the point. The city attorney thinks he had problems with Wells Fargo. I've got news, very bad news for all of you. You've got the same kinds of problems with the animal shelter. My dogs were impounded while I was in critical condition in the hospital and adopted out, erroneously, needless to say. I had a phone call from a city attorney by the name of Laurie Rittenberg, who said she would file an emergency motion to have the adoption declared bogus and was going to FedEx me a declaration to sign. 10 days went by. I received nothing. I have called repeatedly to everybody and their brother in the animal shelter up and down the ladder and got nowhere. Got nowhere with Ms. Rittenberg, never called me back, and I have filed a complaint with the bar against Mr. Fuhrer and Ms. Rittenberg, and they'll answer for this. I have an elderly dog, and my companion dog, I am disabled, and this is not funny, and I want you to rectify it. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Again, please no hissing or booing or applauding our speakers, please. And the last speaker, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Alan Worthy.
Great, thank you very much. Got it, Mr. Worthy. Okay, thank you. Okay, no more yelling out. I just needed your name. Thank you. Next speaker, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hi, I'm Hugh Kenny. I'm from Silver Lake. I'd like to bring your attention to those signs over there that I believe say, where do you stand for people or profit? And I was ruminating, we got all these people coming in trying to get you to divest from LA or speed it up, but I never see anybody from Wells Fargo, not even an office boy, trying to stop it. Do they have other means of communicating that are more efficacious, the one that we have at our disposal? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
My name is Yvonne Elliott.
Great.
I have been home sharing in Hollywood since 2013. Were it not for home sharing, you would see me on the boulevard pushing a shopping cart. I would lose my house. I got caught up in the world of predatory lending when I refinanced my house to invest in my business. My mortgage skyrocketed from $400 a month to $4,000. Then came the financial collapse. Everything hit me at once. Business failure, divorce, bankruptcy. At my age, I could not find a decent job, and my Social Security was a mere $600 per month. Disaster. Then the cavalry rushed in with a home-sharing alternative. I rented out 2 spaces in my home. I fought my way back as the money I earned covered my overheads. If I could only rent part of the year and only rent 1 space, I could not pay my mortgage, let alone pay my bills. With only $600 a month to live on, at 66 years old, I would end up on the street. Also, any number of days limit is just crazy. What other business does a city limit with the number of days that they can conduct that business?
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, for the last time, Ortizia, okay, no longer here. Joe Jimenez, for the last time, no longer here. All right, Miss Betty, followed by Andrea Bishop, Trinity Tran, Lydia Ponce. Okay, if those speakers are no longer here, we could take those names off the board as well. Blair Avery. Nope, no Blair Avery. Okay? All right, come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Trinity.
Thank you.
The cities of Seattle, Santa Monica, Davis, Alameda have divested. San Francisco, Oakland, Washington, D.C. are on its way. Just this past Monday, Philadelphia City Council unanimously voted to divest $2 billion of the city's payroll from Wells Fargo. Even the state of California, under Treasurer John Chang, has ended its contract with Wells Fargo for their corrupt banking practices. So we asked Los Angeles to not renew the contract with Wells Fargo when it ends in June and redirect our public funds into financial institutions that take into consideration our communities and our planet. We also ask that the city consider a municipal public bank where banking profits can stay within the communities to work for our community, to grow our local economy. So will Los Angeles lead as the nation's most forward-thinking city, or will we fall behind and let other cities do the right thing and sever ties from these corrupt financial institutions? So we respectfully ask you one question. Do you stand with the people, or do you stand with profit? Thank you.
Ready? My name is Blair, and I just want to say that this is not a movement to end Wells Fargo. This is a movement to end Manifest Destiny. The same principles that led this to become one of the biggest institutions in the world are the principles that led to the indigenous genocide, the privatization of prisons, globalization of industry, and the economic collapse that is sure to happen again. You have a chance to stand on the right side of history before this mafia puts more paper trails through the lives of the citizens that you are paid to protect.
Great, thank you very much.
Good morning. My name's Al Sewane. Lydia Ponce can't be here. She asked me to speak on her behalf.
You can't speak on her behalf. You've got to speak on your own behalf. Do
All
you
right,
have?
thank you.
Do you have a card filled out for general public comment?
I'll go ahead and fill one out then.
Next speaker, please. Carrie Kim, Yvonne Autry, Mr. and Mrs. Tai. Folks, you can all come up at one time. So those are the last times I'm going to call the names. And then we'll just assume you're not here. And we're going to move on. Following those ones will be John Walsh and Eric Previn. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Council, for your
And
time.
your name, please?
My name is Carrie Kim. I live in District 13, and I would like to express my hope that you will stand on the right side of history, as people have been saying. As you know, Philadelphia voted on Monday to suspend their contract with Wells Fargo for their $2 billion payroll. And Councilwoman Cindy Bass said, time and time again, Wells Fargo has revealed them to be the antithesis of corporate irresponsibility. Robert Reich also said, kudos to Philadelphia, and other cities should follow. Why should taxpayers subsidize corporate irresponsibility? So we have a great opportunity right now. We know that we have many allies on the City Council. We know that you believe in justice. You would not be public servants. You would never have run for office if that wasn't somewhere in your belief system. So we are asking you to stand for the people and to create a new empowered future for us all that is committed to renewable energy, committed to social, environmental, and justice. Thank you.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org and J. Walsh Confidential. This is just my general public comment. I've signed up for other items to speak on public comment. Notice, Mr. Cedillo, when you were sinking We were on your side. We were some of the people who went to the LA Times, and the LA Times had this guy, Bray Ali, vicious, vile, hateful, 100% racist, who makes jokes about Hispanic people and that their horns are doorbells. This scumbag is gone. And what happened? Robert Greene, another piece of crap at the LA Times. This is the first time in history that the LA Times withdrew a recommendation. The first time, vicious, vile pieces of crap over there. Devan Maharaj is a racist scumbag.
Hey, John, stay up there right now. Let's go ahead and go into your other items while you're still there, so you've got another 3 minutes. And again, John, those were items 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 1 was 1A and 1B. So those are your items.
Okay. I'll go first to 7, and 7 is the appointment of Miss Aura Vasquez to Water and Power. Incidentally, we checked; she doesn't have any criminal record. You have appointed people with criminal records. Number 8, this is a okay. Look what this says: a local water emergency exists and continues to persist within the city of Los Angeles. And you up here don't give a syphilitic rat's ass about it. What is this huge emergency? You don't want to even talk about it. All you want to do is introduce children up here. This kid is Bonin's kid? I don't believe it. You'll have to show me some DNA. Number 10, this is Studio City residential floor area. This,
John, if you make another comment that's not on the agenda items you came to spoke about, then you're going to forfeit your time. You know the rules.
Number 10, this is mansionization. You're 100% in favor of it. Number 11, Venice Local Coastal Program. See, okay, this is the most important thing. There isn't going to be any Venice 20 years from now. And do you give a syphilitic rat's ass about it? The water level is going up. That's what you should be talking about. That's what we should be talking about. Number 12, this is installation of guardrails along the Lake Hollywood Park for the safety of all residents. Why didn't we have this before? Up until now, there have been no guardrails up there for the past 100 years. Number 13, this is transit neighborhood plans. Well, 0.5% sales tax went up and the service was cut. The service has been cut, and you don't seem to give a damn about bus riders. All you're interested about is train riders. Number 14, this is $4,500 for street furniture. What is this street furniture BS? It's not furniture, it's crap. It's on. If you want to see real street furniture, go to Santa Monica. It's beautiful. Their street furniture is beautiful. Yours is crap. They went to a highest. Over here, everything goes to the highest bidder who spent money on swaying the people up there. And I want to fold the 10 seconds, my last 10 seconds, and give it to you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, now I want to go to Councilmember Harris Dawson for a special.
Mr. Chair and members, I have a special acknowledgement we want to make today. Mr. Bernie E. Brown is retiring from our LA City Attorney's Office after a full 29 years of service. So wave your hand. He's here with his family, his wife Gloria. Served at almost all of our courts, active on a lot of the legal institutions and professional associations associated with his trade. And so we thank you so much for your service, Ms. Brown. We thank you for sharing him with us, and we pray that you have an enjoyable retirement, and we will not ask you to come back to help us in the court. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So general public comment. Mr. Previn for 1 minute. And then go ahead. Let's start off with your 3 minutes on 7 through 14, and then we'll go to your general public comment for a minute, okay?
Thank you. It is Eric Previn from CD2 from Studio City. There's a lot of stuff on this agenda, sir, and congratulations on the all OT LAPD contract at item 6, but there's something missing on the Schedule A.
Mr. President?
No, you're not on the agenda item. That's going to be your fair and final warning, okay? Then you'll forfeit your time and go into general public comment, into which you can make those comments.
That is inappropriate to speak during my time, sir. Item number 14 is street sweeping, and 40% of all revenues and fines against Angelenos in the transportation space comes from or related to parking around street sweeping situations. So I feel terrible for the people in the 8th District, Mr. Harris Dawson's district. That was a very nice, touching thing to the city attorney, but this is going to hurt people in his district. Item number 16 is your closed session item that you'll be going into, and I do have an opportunity to give a little comment on that, which is that this is a tough case. A guy, very experienced cyclist, hit a rock initially, but then the commenters said it was a crack in the road, that a car wouldn't have bumped over, but a bicyclist obviously lost his life, and it's tragic. It's very, very tragic. But it raises some important issues, and that's why we're all watching closely as you go into that closed session, so that we can, as members of the public and a wide community of cyclists, drivers, pedestrians, all of us who are united under the spirit of Vision Zero, but concerned about the application and about the $9.5 million Dockweiler settlement last week, and about lots of other things that feels like a chorus is being conducted, and there's a conductor, but I'm not going to name him now. But item number 13 is another pernicious idea here. We're looking for access to confidential data of employees from EDD right through the area in Hollywood, Mr. Rue and O'Farrell, who needs to return the contributions that he excessively received from Ms. Zaborski. He needs to return them, and I know that you'll take care of that, sir, because you're a law and order guy. But what has to happen is we do not want to give away our confidential employment data to various transactional studies about retail in Hollywood. No, we don't. I don't think we do. Speak up if you agree. I don't think that's appropriate at all. And item number 10 is a little kind of a technical detail, because Studio City was ahead of folks in the baseline mansionization ordinance business. We were very vigilant as our community was ravaged by mansionization, and they fought weekly and long, but nonetheless they got some. Now the larger policy has taken over, so this is a technicality, I hope, although I'm sure there is something dirty and disgusting embedded. Item number 11, I just want to say climate change is inarguably something to be studied and looked at, but to spend $237,000, Mr. Bonin, of your neighborhood money on a study about climate change feels political. And I know that most people in your district are worried about climate change, as am I, but it feels political to do that. That's municipal money that could be going for keeping bathrooms open, like we talked about at the budget hearing. And now I have a minute for general public comment, and I'll try to be brief. Yesterday and today there'll be another 1 p.m. budget hearing, so everybody should show up if they have anything to say on the 9 point whatever billion. Yesterday, myself and another watchdog, Jack Humphreyville, showed up 15 minutes late and were denied comment on a 4.5-hour meeting. That falls beneath the standard. Everybody knows that, and there's no good excuse. I wanted to say, sir, and I say it to you now, that TASER
Again, you're off topic.
has a... I'm on general public comment, sir. TASER has a general rollback program, and you should get $8 million back from the first year that we went into the business of the body cams. They're providing that to get into the body cam with everyone. Mr. Krikorian, make a note of that. We can get it from them. I'll help you. $8 million. The city needs it. The workers need it. And I think that will cover it. But I just want you to be aware that the public has things to say. We want to say them into your receptive space, not into a weird trespassing environment where you're telling people they can't raise their signs.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and go into item 7. I'm sorry. So, Ms. Martin, excuse me, sir, you're disrupting the meeting? Okay, sergeants, if you could please show him his seat. Thank you very much. All right, please show him out of council chambers. He's disrupting the meeting. This is like the third time I've warned you, sir, so have a nice day. You're continuing to disrupt the meeting, sir, so the sergeant's going to escort you out. Goodbye, sir. Thank you very much. You're still disrupting this meeting, sir. No, I've warned you before. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. You're continuing to disrupt the meeting. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.
Excuse me.
You? All right, thank you. You can go right now if you like. Thank you very much.
Well, sir, he continues to disrupt the
Yeah,
meeting.
he's continuing to disrupt the meeting. We'll let the record show. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Martinez.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to introduce Aura Vasquez, who's being considered for the Board of Water and Power. I'd like her to come. Come to the table. Mr. O'Farrell, you escorted her to the wrong table. Oh, okay. Mr. O'Farrell just wants to make sure you're taken care of. I want her to introduce herself and talk a little bit about what she does. I know she's got an incredible, incredible background on environmental justice, which is how I know you.
Yeah.
So please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and why you want to serve on the Board of Water and Power.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Thank you, Council, for having me here. I am beyond grateful to Mayor Garcetti for appointing me to the Commission and the Energy and Environment Committee, which you serve as the chair, and which I have worked before with so many people like Mr. Weiser and Mr. Koretz, that I consider them very close friends, and Mr. Kerkorian as well. And also the full council for all the work and all of the stuff that we've been able to accomplish in so many years. When I got called from the mayor, I was incredibly excited and honored, and I was also shocked that that they will pick somebody like me. As you know, I have been an activist, an environmental justice organizer for my whole life since I was 11 years old. And also because I'm seen as a person that comes from an advocacy community, which is very unlikely. So I'm very, very, very excited to be here. But also, as many of you know, I'm an immigrant from Colombia. And I came to the United States when I was 18. So this appointment also is a testament that the American dream is alive and thriving in LA. So as you know, I have worked very diligently to get LA off of coal, and a lot of you were instrumental to get us there. And just a couple years ago, I was on the other side really pushing DWP to get us here to a much more renewable Los Angeles. So as you know, I'm now in my position as a commissioner. I have a couple of priorities that are very exciting, and one of them is get us to the finish line to 100% renewables, especially with a very equitable lens for those people that are most affected by climate change and those people that are most affected by pollution and that need it the most. So I'm going to need you all, and this appointment is not just for me, but it's also for all of us. And I'm very excited to be here, and thank you so much for all the vote of confidence and the incredible responsibility that I find myself with today.
Thank you very much. Members, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Vasquez?
We have a number of members on the queue.
Great.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I think Ara is one of the strongest appointments we've ever had to this commission. I'm very excited that she's being added on. We worked closely together on banning plastic bags, on getting beyond coal for the DWP, which I think is critical, a number of environmental issues. Obviously, the one that I think is the most front and center is climate change, and I try to remind my colleagues how quickly this is moving. This year, in the first 4 months, we have had 5,000 extreme weather events in the United States, which is double the previous few years, which was already disastrous. So things are moving, and they're moving fast, and we're not noticing as much as we should. So how will you use your role on this body to advance the cause of fighting climate change?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that I have been really instrumental in doing in the many years as an organizer is really bringing people together. So I think as a LADWP commissioner, my hope is to bring all of the agencies so that we can really tackle climate change in a real way, and also for those people that are really affected by climate change, like in areas like South LA, in the valley, which it gets very hot and very extreme. And I think I feel like there are a couple of policies that we can have in place that can be very practical and easy to accomplish that can really get us there, including water recycling and storing better ways to store our water. I mean, we were blessed this year, or last year and this year, with having so much rain. And I'm a firm believer that water is life. So we have to really treat our water as such.
Thank you. And I don't know on a non-environmental front if you've given much thought to how to make the agency more customer-friendly and accessible and transparent.
Yeah, so I'm a young woman, and I am very active in social media, and I feel like it's not just only to brag about what I do or what I eat, but it's especially to be connected with my community and with people. So I feel, as a commissioner, one of my priorities is to be very accessible to other people. And one of the things that I have consulted with Mr. Wright, which is the general manager for the DWP, is how are we going to have constituency office hours so that people can come talk to me and voice their concerns and share how can we make a DWP better and more equitable and more attainable for all.
Well, thank you. And again, congratulations on a terrific appointment. I look forward to working with you in the years to come.
Thanks.
Okay, yes, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And this is a really exciting appointment for the DWP Commission. When I chaired the Energy and Environment Committee, many of the major policy proposals that we passed at that time, Ms. Vasquez was there, active, involved. But if you think of every major environmental justice cause that has happened in the city of LA in the last few years, Ms. Vasquez was there leading the charge with many other groups. And so I want to thank you and congratulate you for all the work and the accomplishments you've done. But it's now exciting to see you in the commission, because to have someone there voice these issues, take them seriously, and especially now as we see the national climate and changing, and we're under attack for all the great progressive environmental causes we've championed here in the city of LA, we're under attack. So it's important to have someone like you that's strong, dedicated, and focused on these issues. So this is a great issue. And again, thank you for your work and helping us get out of coal by the year 2025. We've had the largest budget in DWP for energy efficiency because of your work. And we've also got some of the largest solar panel projects off the ground than anywhere in the country. So thank you so much. I look forward to continue working with you. Great appointment. Congratulations.
Thanks. And we're just starting.
Thank you. Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Vasquez, I do want to rise and echo some of the comments made by my colleagues and the fact that you are a true advocate for the environmental community. The environmental justice community owes a debt of gratitude for your activism and you advocating for renewable energy and you being a partner with what we're doing in the city of Los Angeles. So I do want to recognize also Mayor Garcetti for bringing this recommendation before council. It's the right recommendation in light of what's taken place throughout our city, our county, our country. You were there when we installed a number of solar panels at the Port of Los Angeles. You were there at a number of our AQMD meetings to advocate for cleaner emission technology. So I just want to rise and look forward and recognize your contributions to improving our quality of life. And thank you for taking on this role and looking forward to working with you. Congratulations.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and Ms. Vasquez, congratulations. First of all, congratulations on all the work that you've already done, because you've made such a dramatic impact on this city already through your advocacy. And now with this appointment, I think you're going to be a critical part of this city's future as we move forward beyond advocacy to implementation. And I know a lot of the members of the public who care very much about the environment and climate change who are here with us today may not fully be aware of all that you and other advocates have achieved in moving this city forward. And we are already, as Mr. Huizar mentioned, we are already committed to becoming the largest municipal utility in America to be entirely coal-free, well ahead of any mandated requirements by the federal government or otherwise. By 2025, we'll be 100% coal-free. That's a monumental achievement, and it sets a precedent, I think, for the rest of the country and the rest of the world to follow. When it comes to commitment to renewable energy, the motion that Mr. Bonin and I introduced sets DWP on the path to becoming the largest utility in America, committed to 100% renewable electricity. And more than just committing to it, we're doing the work to figure out how you get there. So it's not just good enough to pick a number and a date and say we're going to do that. You actually have to do the hard work of saying, how do you get a grid that's reliable? How do you handle the intermittency issues? How do you back up the intermittent power? How do you ensure that it's equitable to all ratepayers? This is hard work. This is much harder than just picking a number and saying, this is the number we're going to get. It's hard, detailed, complicated work. And the board is going to be leading that difficult work. And so your experience, your advocacy, your passion, your vision in helping to chart the actual direction that we're going in implementing that plan is going to be invaluable. And it really is the difference between succeeding at something and merely, cheering about it that, oh, we're committed to it. We are not just committed to it. We are going to achieve this thanks in large measure to your advocacy and your continuing leadership in this new position. So congratulations. I couldn't be more supportive of an appointment.
Thank you.
So Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members. I just want to rise to thank you, say congratulations to Mayor Garcetti for making such an outstanding and courageous appointment to this very, very important commission. The thing I want to thank you for and point out is involving poor people in the movement around the environment, not just as victims of environmental injustice, but as individuals and people that can do something about the situation in our environment. So whether it's advocating for equitable development so that people in South LA don't get in their car and drive to Westchester to get groceries and pollute the air on the way there and on the way back, making sure we actually have those things in every community so that everybody can conserve. You stood with us on those issues, and you've been an activist. And I see some of the commissioners here. I would just give you guys a little bit of a warning, because I've worked with Ms. Vasquez. She is not a go-along to get along kind of member. So everybody should be ready for the rough and tumble. And like any good organizer, keeping the question on the table until we get an answer, until we move the ball forward. So again, thank you, and congratulations to Mayor Garcetti.
Thank you. Well, you're being warned.
And finally, Councilmember Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations on the appointment. Congratulations to Mayor Garcetti for making the appointment. For about 100 days now, we have been saying in Los Angeles that we are the counterpoint to all the horrible things that are happening in Washington, D.C., whether it is on immigration or on civil rights or on the environment. Los Angeles and California have been working very hard to be the counter-narrative. So today with this appointment, this is part of the antidote to Scott Pruitt at the EPA.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Vasquez, if you could, we're going to go ahead and have a seat on the front row if you want. Thank you. We're going to go through public comment. And I didn't feel you needed your back turned to the podium. Thank you very much. Not general public comment. If you could put it back to this item only, please. Item 7. There you go. Thank you. Dallas Fowler, please. Followed by Louisa Krikorian. I guess that's another false name. Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
You guys are so funny. Antonio Ramirez. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Greetings, council members. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. As a former commissioner in the city, I am honored to be here to support a very good friend of mine, Ms. Aura Vasquez. Aura and I met through her work with the LA League of Conservation Voters, and then we ultimately not served together, but we went through the Emerge class of 2016 together. And I can just attest to all of the testimony that was here today and confirm that she is the right person to serve in this capacity, and I know that she will represent all of the residents in the city of Los Angeles very well. And I'm so honored and pleased to see that she got this appointment. So thank you also to the mayor for appointing her, and good luck. And I think that's my time. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Geyer.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Graciela Geyer. I'm the campaign representative for the My Generation campaign of the Sierra Club, and I just want to commend the mayor for adding such a new and important member to the Commission of the Public Utility. As a young woman, an immigrant, and a climate justice advocate who was key to getting our city to get our city beyond coal, we are grateful for the vision of bringing such diversity to the board, and we look forward to working together with all of the commissioners, but especially also Ms. Vasquez, to get us across the finish line to 100% clean energy. And I just wanted the Sierra Club members and staff that came to support Aura to stand. And just thank you so much. We're very proud today.
All right. Okay, so Antonio Ramirez, followed by Herman and Wayne. You've got multiple. Hey, please, no clapping, Wayne. That's, again, it's going to be your final warning, not for each other. So, Antonio, Herman, and Wayne, whoever comes up first, you have 3 minutes each for your multiple items, and that's items 2, 7, 13, and 14. Stick to the items specifically. You're going to be asked to forfeit, or you will forfeit your time. It's your only warning.
Right. I would like to recognize Ms. Vasquez for her appointment. I'm sure she doesn't have a history with Eric Garcetti for a favor, but she definitely has a tattoo on her body, and I hope it's not gang-related. But congratulations, ma'am. You're very cute, very beautiful, and I just want to let you know that
Mr.
you
President,
go ahead and do a good
that's
job.
not on topic.
Now on item number 8, sir. As local energy of the mayor dated March 20th, no one really fucking cares about the ratified fucking council of March 28th, April 5th, April 19th of the fucking 2017 due to significant fucking impact of Los Angeles aqueduct. And since I'm talking about the aqueduct that we, the people, are building out this area, it's a grim reminder that we have controlled spending, because it's all up to water and power, and thank you to our new commissioner to keep things in check, a check and balance. Now I'm going to the other item. God damn. Fucking illegal immigrant motherfucker.
All right,
now,
so that's off topic.
communication-
So again, you're off topic. You're saying things that are not. Stay on the agenda. Now you're disrupting the meeting and you're yelling.
No, he's
Excuse
disrupting
me.
the meeting, Mr. President.
Yeah.
He's not entitled to argue with the president.
Okay, now you're getting hostile and
He needs
disrupting
to
the meeting.
go.
Your time's done. Your
He
time's
needs to
done.
go.
Sergeants, please escort him. You're out. You're done. Goodbye. You know the rules. You're here every day, every meeting. You're done. All right? Goodbye. Thank you. Yeah, you're not only
shouting
disrupting
out.
the meeting, but you're being vulgar, crude. Oh, you're being yourself. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you. Sergeants, please show them out. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Herman is continuing
Mr.
to
President,
shout out as the
I'd like to
police
note for the-
officers are escorting him from the room.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Several hundred people in the council chambers are waiting for this meeting to resume while Mr. Herman is shouting out, being escorted out of the room by police officers.
Which is an often occurrence and more regular than not, unfortunately. Wayne, your turn. 3 minutes. Stick to your specific items. There won't be any more warnings.
Okay, now we turn to liens. This is what we need to do with liens. We need to get rid of fucking liens. No more liens in these places like CD7. Fuck these liens. We do not need fucking liens on people's properties so they go homeless. We are renewing energy and liens. We are energized to get rid of all liens in CD7 because the defendant Herman Wesson Jr. said no more liens while he's president of CD7 liens. Get rid of all liens. Now we turn to the Water and Power Commission, the criminal organization called DWP, transferring money, hundreds of millions of dollars, lady, to the commission, to the city is theft. You are stealing. The DWP is being robbed because they are giving money away from the utility customer to the general fund in violation of the state constitution. The Honorable Christina Noonan, who you replace, Noonan knows, yes, and Jill Banks Barad knows, the war criminal Jill Banks Barad knows, it's theft. Jill, stop stealing $245 million from the DWP so we can fix our fucking sewers and our roads and our utility lines. And then, of course, we get to CD2 motion regarding Studio City Residential. What do we say about CD2? It's ran by Paul Kerkorian, who is a goat. And that means we do not approve of residential floor area rezoning because it is bad for the people of CD2. We do not support the criminals. Also, the CD4 installation of guardrails, Lake Hollywood Park. Rue doesn't give a fucking shit about the Hollywood sign or the people who live up in Beechwood. He only cares about campaign donations and getting reelected. No on the guardrails. Then the funding supplemental street sweeping services. See, that's good. We support that. Thank you, Marquise Harris Dawson, for doing this. We need to sweep the streets in CD8. When you do a good job, we compliment you. We're not, no, we do compliment you on a good job.
Okay, and you have 1 minute for general public comment.
So, yesterday, Herb Wesson got served with a federal lawsuit, and then I attempted to have my process server serve him, and he made us go to the city attorney's office to get served because you know why? Herb Wesson Jr. doesn't exist. It's a fake name. His real name is Herman Jason Wesson Jr., and he's been running for office with a fraudulent first name. He's not allowed to hold office under the name. I have a sworn declaration from 2016. My name, my true and correct legal name is Herman J. Wesson. He will not under oath tell us that he is Herb Wesson Jr. So, Monday, I have a criminal case. I am going to have the judge subpoena him and Hugo Rossiter to tell us why the city council president uses a fraudulent name.
Thank you, Mr. Wayne from Encino, if that's your name. All right, Santonia.
What numbers?
You've got items number 2, 7, 13, and 14. 2, 7, 13, and 14.
Thank you very much. Number 2. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we give more concern to animals than we do to human beings. Again, we give more concern to dogs and cats and lizards and reptiles than we do to human beings. That's a crying shame. I hope we change that by the end of this year. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, we have to overhaul the Department of Transportation and Public
Mr. President,
Safety.
the speaker does not have
Number
card number
3.
3.
Please, you have cards left on 7, 13, and 14 only.
Okay, freaking hell. Number 7, Mrs. Ora Vasquez of the Board of Water and Power Commissioners, are you a wetback? Did you legally come to America? Are you a wetback? Did you legally come here by the rule of law? If not, we're going to get ice up your ass. And number 8, and number 13. Number 13. Ladies and gentlemen, the California Employment Development Department needs also an overhaul, and the Transit Department needs an overhaul. You need to do a lot more cleaning. And furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, Metro does not provide great and adequate...
Please no yelling into the mic. If you yell, you're done with your time. You yell, you're done with your time.
No one's yelling. Again, you seem to
You're
always
yelling.
interrupt, censor, throw us out, because that's what you
Our
enjoy
translators
doing,
are wearing
Mitchell
headphones,
Englander.
and if you're going to yell, you're done.
I am talking
It's not
about the
complicated.
wetbacks and
Follow
the
the rules.
gangbangers, and you seem to always interrupt and continuously violate our First Amendment because you do not agree with what we have to say or read.
I don't agree with you yelling.
We do dissent. You know, we have
gotta
a
keep the
brain of
voice
our
down.
own. It's not regulated speech, Mitchell Englander,
Okay.
so quit being a Jewish Nazi for
thank you very
crying out
much.
loud. Give us
kind.
a break, man.
Excuse
Allow
me.
us the freedom to speak without the
Thank you.
interruptions, the attacks, the violations, the abuses, and the goddamn being thrown out. If I did that to you, you'd be calling me a Holocaust
Mr. President,
Okay.
she's off
Give me
topic.
a fucking
You're off
break,
topic.
man.
Your time's done. Goodbye.
Yes.
Thank you. Goodbye. Now you're disrupting the meeting. Okay, we're going to ask you to leave the chambers. We're asking you to leave the chambers now. Sergeants, please escort her out. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. For the record,
Mr. President, for the record,
yeah.
the speaker is still disrupting the meeting as she's leaving the room. She's continuing to shout and continues to shout and still hasn't left the room.
okay, so we are done with the comments on item 7. And we'll go ahead now and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
And, Mr. President, in the meantime, the Department of Building and Safety has requested that item 1R be continued to June 2nd. Again,
Okay, then
1R
1R to June 2nd. That'll be the order without objection. Thank you very much. And now we have a special presentation from Council Member Huizar. And Ms. Vasquez, congratulations again. Let's give her another round of applause. We also got a little bit of exposure to public comment. So, all righty. Okay, excuse me for 1 second, Mr. Huizar. I apologize. Sergeants, please take Wayne out. Wayne, thanks for joining us today. I've asked you not to shout out. You've just shouted out again. You were doing it repeatedly throughout the meeting, and you just did it again. So, thank you very much. Have a nice day, Mr. Spindler. Sergeants, please escort Mr. Spindler out so Mr. Huizar can start his presentation. He's still disrupting the meeting. Continuing, yes. Thank you. All right, we've got a presentation that is a scheduled presentation, Mr. Spindler. You're disrupting the meeting. I'm going to ask for the city attorney as well as to report back to this council immediately on what happens on multiple disruptions when somebody is escorted out on continuous days, and if we have the ability legally and what we can do in our options to ban them longer so we can continue the people's work. So that'll be a formal request from the council president to the city attorney to report back on that immediately. Mr. Huizar.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have some visitors from Mexico, so it's great for them to see democracy at work here in the city of Los Angeles and our respect for the First Amendment, although someone to abuse it. But it gives me great pleasure today to announce that this Friday is Cinco de Mayo. And some of you may be thinking through your minds, I'm going to go get a beer or something, but that's not what this is about. In fact, that was commercialized by the alcohol companies to get more people to drink their product. What Cinco de Mayo really is about here in the city of Los Angeles and the United States and in Mexico is about showing our Mexican pride, showing our culture, and acknowledging that the struggles that the Mexican people have had both in Mexico and here in the United States. In fact, it was in the 1960s and 70s that through the Chicano movement that Cinco de Mayo got a bit more popular as a way of acknowledging our heritage. And it's always been a celebration in all of Mexico to acknowledge back in 1862 when 5,000 ill-equipped Native Americans and mestizos battled the French, who were better equipped and who were the best equipped and armed war army for its time. And despite that, the ragtag band of Native Americans and mestizos beat off the French and has since become known as the Battle of Puebla, and it represents a symbol of Mexican unity, patriotism, and almost as quickly here in the United States, the battle became a cry to defend democracy and defeat slavery in Mexico and the United States, which is being tested in our own civil war. With us today, we have our Consul General, who got here after some struggles with traffic, and I asked him if he knows anybody to deal with that. We'll fix that soon. But we have with us today our Consul General of Mexico, Carlos Garcia de Alba, who will share a few words with us. Welcome.
Muchas gracias. Muy buenos días y muy feliz 5 de mayo a todos. Thank you so much for your kind invitation, and thank you to my very good friend, el concejal José Huizar. Thank you for the invitation, and to all the council members. And obviously I want to thank also and recognize the presence of the family of my good friend Mario Riestra. You all are welcome, along with the Hispanic leaders that are with us this morning. First of all, I want to once again profoundly thank Council Member José Huizar for this event that commemorates la Batalla de Puebla del 5 de Mayo, 1862, and is very much appreciated his invitation. Second of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Mario Riestra and his dear family, who will be recognized today for his contributions and efforts that have benefited many people from the state of Puebla y por ayudar a muchos poblanos. Muchas felicidades. As you know, Mexico and the United States, Mexico and California, and Mexico and Los Angeles have been able to build many and so fruitful bridges. Trade, tourism, security, education, art, science, sports, gastronomy, you name it. We have built a very productive, strategic, mutually convenient bilateral relationship. By building bridges and not walls, we have built a win-win relationship. Cinco de Mayo is another huge bridge that unites us, one that is becoming bigger and bigger, more important as years go by, because el 5 de Mayo has become now a true bicultural celebration of our links, the Day of Mexico in the USA. As you are aware, it is not Mexico's Independence Day. Cinco de Mayo, as I mentioned before, commemorates the triumph of the Mexican army over France at the Battle of Puebla, after Napoleon III invaded Mexico with the goal of installing a monarchy. By the time, as Council Member Huizar remember, the French army was considered the best army in the world, and they had not been defeated for many years, but we did it, even when it was a truly David versus Goliath situation. So, Cinco de Mayo represents Mexican resistance to intervention and how a nation can rally to defend itself. We know how to do that when we need it. The first Cinco de Mayo celebrations date back to the 1860s, when Mexicans, precisely here in California, commemorated the victory with a sense of pride. About a century later, Mexican-American people in the U.S. rediscovered the holiday and embraced it. It is a symbol of dignity and honor. In the 1980s and 1990s, thanks to the Chicano movement, the celebration began to grow up enormously, now all over the country. Mexican music, dancing, food, drinks, and traditions, of course, are part of the reason why that happened, including, of course, guacamole. Nowadays, on Cinco de Mayo, an estimated 87 million pounds of avocados are consumed. That is around 175 million individual avocados. It is the second most important day for consumption of guacamole in the USA, only after Super Bowl's Day, when close to 105 million pounds are eaten up. As I read once on the ABC's webpage, nothing says game day like guacamole. As of today, Los Angeles is host to the largest Cinco de Mayo party outside the Mexican state of Puebla. And it couldn't be other way, given the close, productive ties between Mexicans and Angelinos. As a proof of that, let me quickly mention a few examples. Nowadays, Mexico and Los Angeles bilateral trade amounts annually to $15 billion US. To give you an idea of how big that figure is, one needs to combine the annual bilateral trade of Mexico with the United Kingdom, France, and Spain to match the amount of trade between Mexico and Los Angeles. Los Angeles is as well the city outside Mexico that more Mexicans call mi casa. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2017, by the way, we have built another marvelous bridge, the Year of Mexico in Los Angeles. The Year of Mexico is a celebration in LA of the strong and solid ties that unite my country and this great city. El Año de México presents more than 200 activities and events in more than 40 venues all over Los Angeles. 14 Mexican states, among them el Estado de Puebla, take part in the festival, and they are bringing here this weekend the best and most characteristic of the region in the breadth of cultural, artistic, entrepreneurial, tourism, and technological activities. The Year of Mexico is a great celebration in Mexico in LA and of our multiple ties. Dear Council members, Mexico and the United States have learned how to go from distant neighbors to close friends, to strategic partners and key allies. We have to keep working hard and being determined to strengthen our ties not to diminish them. It is for the good of our countries, for the good of both our people. California and Los Angeles are totally aware of that. So I want to profoundly, deeply thank you all for that. And thank you so much again for celebrating Cinco de Mayo. It is always a pleasure to attend the best Mexican-American celebration. Muchas gracias.
Well said. Muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias, Consul. Very well said. I also would like to recognize Lourdes Juarez, who is the president of Unión de Poblanos en el Exterior. Along with other club members, they have done a significant job and a very important job in continuing to build the relationship we have with Puebla and to celebrate Cinco de Mayo here in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you for your work, Lourdes, and thank you for UPEX. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Today, we also recognize Mario Riestra Piña, a distinguished Poblano who has contributed significantly to the Poblano community, both in Puebla and in Los Angeles. Mario Riestra Peña currently serves as the city clerk of the city of Puebla. Our Poblano leaders here today chose to honor him because while in Congress, he worked hard to secure the right to vote for Poblanos living abroad. He was also instrumental in securing a partnership in 2016 with TV Azteca America to broadcast live our Cinco de Mayo parade here in the U.S., as well as a weekly TV series on the history of Puebla leading up to and culminating this special week. Both efforts are critical to Poblanos who reside here in Los Angeles in helping them remain engaged and civically involved in what happens back in their home state of Puebla. I want to acknowledge the presence of his aunt, Veronica Rivero Baschert, also making the trip as well. Bienvenida. And unfortunately, Mario Riestra Piña could not join us, but we have with us today his mother, Susana Piña Prieto, who will say a few words. Bienvenida. Gracias. Por favor.
Buenos días. Yo vengo en representación de mi hijo, Mario Riestra Piña. Les agradezco mucho en nombre de él este reconocimiento. Claro. Buenos días.
Good morning.
Yo vengo en representación de mi hijo, Mario Riestra Piña.
I am here representing my son, Mango Riestra Piña.
Él desgraciadamente no pudo asistir.
Unfortunately, he couldn't be here.
Pero está muy orgulloso y contento.
But he is proud and very happy.
De trabajar junto con Lourdes Juárez.
With working with Lourdes Juárez.
Concejal Huizar.
And Councilman Huizar.
Les agradece mucho esto. Además.
He thank you very much for this.
Para la familia Riestra Piña,
for the family Riestra Piña,
pues siempre han estado trabajando a favor de los migrantes aquí en todo Estados Unidos.
They have always been working on behalf of immigrants right here in the United States.
Ya que mi esposo también, Mario Riestra Venegas, estuvo trabajando siempre a favor de la unión de los migrantes.
My husband, ¿cómo se llama su esposo?
Mario Riestra Venegas.
Mario Riestra Venegas, he has also been working on behalf of the immigrants right here in the United States.
Sobre todo de los poblanos.
On the side of the people from Puebla.
Y que no perdieran la identidad de Puebla.
So that they couldn't lose the identity of Puebla.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you very much.
Gracias. De parte de la ciudad de Los Ángeles me da un gran placer presentarle este reconocimiento a Mario Riestra Piña de parte de la ciudad por ayudar a los poblanos aquí como allá en Puebla. Muchísimas gracias y felicidades.
Gracias.
Tilt this forward.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have Mr. Cedillo is on the queue as well.
Okay.
So while you're taking pictures, but stay up there. I'd like to call Councilmember Cedillo.
Let me thank my colleague for bringing this to our attention. This is a very significant event and time period. As you know, Cinco de Mayo began to develop a lot of its popularity in the 70s during the Chicano movement, but it's a uniquely both Mexican and an American activity. And Dr. David Hayes Bautista has written a book that documents the hundreds of years that this event has been celebrated from its inception. And so I think it's very important for us to acknowledge that and to continue to recognize that. But there's a greater meaning today, I think, for all of us, that in the era of Donald Trump, the hostility that was articulated from the inception of his campaign for the presidency, that we must work harder to strengthen these critical bonds that exist between Mexico and the United States, between our city and Mexico. It was well laid out, the importance of trade, but it's more significant than that. There are families that are binational. This is a binational community, and it's very important for us that we have the stability and the certainty that everyone deserves for their family. And so this is a moment for us to recognize all that we're doing under the leadership of Mayor Garcetti and President Herb Wesson, that we have a immigrant rights and civil rights committee that is focused on the rights of immigrants here in the city, that we have invested $2 million to defend every immigrant here in the city dealing with their issues related to immigration, that we have Special Order 40, and that in fact this morning before I came to work here, I was in my district at the LA Baking Company meeting with members of the LAPD, members of the community, having coffee and pastries as they continue to work hard to make sure that people understand that LAPD will not cooperate with ICE, that they are not an extension of ICE, and that they are here to protect and build relations and serve the community, not to function as an extension of ICE. We call on ICE to stop using police as a name, as a recognition, because it is confusing the community as to who is ICE and who is the LAPD. Our department has worked hard at community policing and has worked hard in building these relationships, and they are muddled by the use of that name from ICE. In addition, I should note that we've also hired an advocate, Peter Shea, one of the most preeminent immigration attorneys in the nation, to continue to work with us, that we are in fact the most prominent, the most, I would say, fortified sanctuary city in the nation, ensuring that immigrants here are treated with the dignity and the respect that they deserve. Our agencies, like our libraries, provide opportunities for citizenship, and they also ensure that the city provides its resources and its services to our community without compiling names or records to be shared with anyone, and that everyone should feel safe, comfortable, and confident when they come to a city library or a family resource center or to any agency that the city has to service the community. We are here to serve, and we are here to strengthen this undeniable bond that exists between Mexico and the United States and the great city of Los Angeles and the great nation of Mexico. Thank you, Jose, for doing this.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo, and again, thank you to the people of Puebla, and let's acknowledge and recognize this great time in history, not only for Mexico, but also the United States. Dr. Hayes Bautista writes in the book that Mr. Cedillo mentioned that because of the Civil War and the Battle of Puebla, the French who were supporting the South had to send reinforcements down to Puebla because of the victory that the Mexican people had, and hence allowed the North to better engage the South and win some victories. So these stories are interconnected. The stories of Mexicans on both sides of the border are interconnected. Let's not forget them. Let's acknowledge them. And thank you to the people of Puebla for not only giving us 2 reasons to celebrate Mexican pride, the independence, which is September 16th, Cinco de Mayo, but also thank you for inventing one of my favorite dishes, which is mole. Muchísimas gracias. ¡Que viva Puebla!
Thank you very much. All right, colleagues, we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and go back to the agenda. We're going to take items 8, 9, and 12. So we can go ahead and open the roll on 8, 9, and 12. Okay, close the roll. Okay, the roll's not open yet. On 8, 9, and 12, Now the roll's open. We're going to close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Great. That item is approved. Thank you very much. Now we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to items 11, 13, and 14. We have one card on each item by the same person. So Yvonne, Michelle? Is Yvonne here? All
And
right,
Mr. President, for clarification, on item 14, there is a substitute motion that has been posted and circulated.
Great. Thank you very much. So 11, 13, and 14.
Yes, thank you. You had called my name earlier. I
did. So we'll take you now on 11, 13, and 14
May I also be heard on public comment?
when we're done. So you have those 3 minutes on those 3 items.
And then public
And
comment
then
as well?
1 minute for public comment, yes.
Thank you. So may I begin with...
And Sergeant, if you could please move the center chair from the table. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead and start.
Okay, I'm sorry. You said 11. Okay, yes. First, regarding item 11, I'd like to speak specifically and then also in generalities, just in preservation of the environment that we have and encouraging you to be proactive in creating an environment where we have cleaner water, we have spaces to enjoy, of course, the environment and clean air, clean water, not only in this district, but also in every district. I would encourage that the water quality, the air quality, and access to public spaces be increased, that you use that budget towards that purpose. I believe you also said item 13. Relative to item 13, I would like to encourage you to environment, employment. Oh, for employment, I would like to encourage you to use your budget, the money, of course, not in allocating so much money continually to the police department. Of course, this is quite obviously in preparation for the police state, as we are living under martial law, and this is the project or the test site for training purposes for the military and the paramilitary of the New World Order. I know because electronic weapons...
Mr. President, I believe
you
the
could please
speaker's off topic.
stick to the agenda items.
No,
Or you can start your minute on general public comment if you like instead.
Well, I'll just finish that statement and that thought. Just if you could, again, continue to be aware of our needs and use the monies for the environment and also for the benefit of the community and not allocating so much money to the police department. Now, for my public comment, I'd like to preface my comment by saying that I'm in no way racist, but I do know that there are powers that be that are using immigrants, specifically Mexican and Hispanic men, to harass women, especially single black women, single petite women. It's not just the Mexican mafia. They're usually maintenance men. I'm followed continually by Hispanic Mexican men with orange shirts. I suppose they're commissioned by the city. They follow me, they harass me, they make sexual comments and gestures. I think that they're misogynist, some of them might be. I am not the hot spot seductress, temptress, coqueta, homewrecker, their elevator, because some of them have various different gods. I'm not the latter for them. I'm not... I don't know, some women are being kidnapped, they have been exploited as sex slaves, and this must stop. So you have the influence because a lot of the men that are hiring them are Jewish real estate developers.
Thank you very much.
Because they're undocumented.
Thank you. All right, so thank you very much. Thank you. All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, so colleagues, all right, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to items 11, 13, and 14. We'll go ahead and open the roll.
Mr. President, pardon me. Item 14 has a substitute motion. It's a 2-vote item.
Yvonne, excuse me. You're still yelling out. Please don't disrupt the meeting. You're usually really good about that, so we don't want you to ask you to leave. All right, thank you very much.
If we could take 11 and 13 together, that would be appropriate.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take 11 and 13. Open the roll. Close the roll. And tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go ahead and take item 14.
And Mr. President, there is a substitute motion for that matter. It's a 2-vote item. The first vote is on whether to substitute or not.
All righty. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open the roll on whether to substitute. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right. Now that item is before us, we'll go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Mr. President, that would bring us to item number 10.
Okay. And Mr. Krikorian will be on item 10.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. In that this matter affects the community in which I live and could potentially impact my property ownership there, I am going to have to recuse myself from this matter.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll give you a moment to do that. All righty, so let's go ahead and open the roll on that item, please. On item 10, close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, that's approved. Thank you very much. And I believe that clears the desk. Oh, we've got item 2. Yes, we'll go ahead and take item 2 now if we can.
Mr. President, that's item number 2, called special by Councilmember Koretz.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to speak to this item to draw attention to the fact that we are now reaching what is technically no-kill, which is considered to be a 90% save rate. At the pace we are on, we expect to achieve this by the end of the year. There are a number of animal organizations that have been here. I'm not sure how many are still here in celebration of this, and I recognize them for their support and help. Our friends and partners, especially at the Best Friends Animal Society, believe that they can achieve the couple thousand additional adoptions that are necessary to hit this number. We hope to go above and beyond 90%, but I think it's something we've been trying to achieve for decades here in the city of Los Angeles, and a very exciting achievement. So I just wanted to recognize that the department partners with national organizations and local rescue groups and others to find ways to adopt out these animals and save their lives. And I also thank our council president for always participating in adoptions of dogs here at our council meetings. Our commission members and our department head, Brenda Barnett, who's here, Larry Gross, and others from the commission. And so this is in a way, a celebration and an achievement that we believe we will reach at the end of the year. So I ask for your aye vote, and anything that anyone of you on council can do to help us continue to adopt more animals out of our animal shelters.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Harris Dawson, did you wish to speak on this item as well? Okay, I figured it was pushed inadvertently. All right, so we'll go ahead and now open the roll on this item, item 2, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All righty. All righty. Yes, Mr. Huizar.
I'd like to motion that we reconsider item 10 so I can make a amendment.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll for reconsideration on item 10.
And the amendment is, if I could get a second by Mr. Koretz, is I would like to request that an urgency clause be added to this item.
Second.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we have to vote on the actual urgency clause.
Oh, we do? Okay.
So we have to vote on the reconsideration first.
All right.
And then we'll take 2 separate votes, one for the actual item itself again. But the other way to do that is just to ask for an urgent forthwith. And we can actually vote on it urgent forthwith. You don't want it to go to urgent forthwith. You want just an urgency clause.
Yes, sir.
Into the ordinance.
In the ordinance.
Got it. All right. So we'll go ahead and open the roll for reconsideration, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Now we have a motion to insert the urgency clause into the ordinance, and that's an instruction to the city attorney. It was made by Mr. Huizar and seconded by Mr. Koretz.
Yeah, and just before we vote, just make this clear, we're not voting on urgency right now. We're amending an instruction to the city attorney
Correct.
just when he drafts it to add it in.
That's right.
Yes,
and
sir.
it's not a change of significance. So with that, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, that is done. Thank you very much. That should clear the desk. No? Maybe?
Mr. President, we do have item number 1 remaining.
Oh, okay.
There has been a request from the department for items 1F and 1I to continue those matters to June 2nd.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that, and without objection, that'll be the order. Okay, so we can...
Yes, sir. That does leave items 1A, 1E, 1G, 1Q, and 1S.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Buscaino.
You can go forthwith on item 13 for Mr. Blumenfield. Thank you.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. And I believe we have a special one before us as well.
Yes, it's been circulated.
Okay, so we have a special one under Rule 23, and we'll ask the city attorney to make the findings.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the Council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Since the posting of the agenda, the DWP Board authorized emergency activities in the Lower Owens River and Lake. Consistent with the emergency resolution, which is item 8 on today's agenda, immediate action is required to waive review of the Board's action so that the Board's action can be immediately effectuated. We will have 2 votes. The first vote will be on the findings pursuant to Government Code 54954.2. Following public comment, there will be a second vote on the substance.
All righty, so we'll go ahead and open the roll on the findings, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, so that item is now before us. All right, so we don't have any cards on this item. That's what we were waiting on. And seeing no cards. All right, seeing no cards, we're going to go ahead and open the roll on this item. Okay, open the roll. Excuse me, let's not, Mr. Walsh, you don't yell out. You're good about that. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that item is moved. Next items, please. All right, so that clears the desk. Do we have any announcements, colleagues?
Mr. President, we do have item 16 remaining. It's a matter
still have
scheduled for
16.
closed session.
I asked earlier if we had any more. You said only one. All right, 16. Well, go ahead and go to 16 then.
Mr. President, it's a matter scheduled for closed session. If there are cards in on that matter, we should take them before.
Correct,
going
and that's
into-
what I was waiting to see if there are any cards on 16. Nope, we're good. There are no cards. Okay, so, and are there any requests for closed session on that, Mr. Krikorian? On item 16? We're good? Go ahead and go in closed session. So if we can go ahead and clear council chambers.
restrict the right of juveniles to be outdoors or in the public places after 10 p.m. until sunrise the next day. Such laws aim to establish a safer community and to better protect people from becoming victims of crimes or becoming involved in a crime. Most people don't agree with our curfew laws and would rather run the risk of being picked up by the police and ticketed for violation of curfew. However, they are more likely to run into the many real dangers that face us every time we go out at night.
We found that kids out so late are normally caught up in violence, traffic accidents, and that's no good. Some of these kids still they're not aware of the law, and they're not educated on it.
Drinking, drugs, sexual predators, and gang-related activities are only few of the dangers we face regardless of how young or old you are. If you are under the age of 18, this law applies to you. What happens if you are caught? You will be taken to the station where the ticket is written out to you and your parent or guardian are called to pick you up. If your parent cannot pick you up, you will be placed into a protective custody or sent to a juvenile facility.
Guardian at something like an event such as Gorilla Beach.
The guardian is not just someone appointed to by the parents. A guardian is someone appointed by the courts.
You can legally stay out late if you are participating in a religious, educational, or political activity, accompanied by a parent or guardian, going to or from their place of employment, responding to some type of emergency, returning home from school, cultural, or recreation activity.
And that's our message, is not only enforcing the curfew violation, but also educating them that they need to stay home and stay safe.
The curfew laws are not just here to protect us, they're here to protect the safety of everyone in our community.
investigating a series of bizarre and disturbing attacks that have left children in cities from coast to coast injured and fearing for their safety. As Global's Anna Gebauer tells us, the young victims were targeted simply because of the color of their hair.
They better, and while we begin with an Eyewitness News exclusive, disturbing video of a gay man being beaten in Queens.
The individual was attacked simply for his orientation, and we're just not going to tolerate it.
The word hate is just unexcusable. It's a word that shouldn't be used, and to hate somebody for the color of their skin is just not right.
It creates fear among all of the community members.
I think it's wrong how people discriminate against others just because of the way they prefer people, as in gays or just their skin color. It's wrong, and something needs to be done. A hate crime is any criminal act directed against a person based on the victim's actual or perceived nationality, religion, sexual orientation, disability, gender, and especially race. Examples of hate crimes include acts which result in injury even if the injury is slight, threats of violence that look like they can be carried out, acts which result in property damage, any criminal act or attempted criminal act, including property damage directed against public or private agencies.
The suspect can spend up to 1 year in jail, and if it's a felony, it could either be between 2 and 4 years for a prison sentence.
If you believe a hate crime has occurred or will occur, you are very much encouraged to contact the Los Angeles Police Department or the We Tip hotline. Public cooperation is often essential in solving hate crimes. We Tip hotline, 909-987-5005.
Property theft has spiked in the area the past year due to easy access for thieves. Almost 80% of car theft occurs because of unlocked doors. Locking your doors takes a matter of seconds and can become so routine that you may forget whether you locked your doors or not. But it's worth the effort to double check. The more successful thieves are at taking items out of a car, the more chances they are going to come back to that area. Don't let our town be that area. One simple precaution is to hide or cover any valuable items when leaving your car unattended. Simple actions like these can prevent you from becoming a victim of property theft. The Los Angeles Police Department would like you to remember, lock it or lose it.
never had a traffic accident like this before, where a teenager has decided to run from the police and been struck by a motor vehicle.
5859 KF 5060, watch 3.
5060 for a message.
Curfew laws restrict the right of juveniles to be outdoors or in the public places after 10 p.m. until sunrise the next day. Such laws aim to establish a safer community and to better protect people from becoming victims of crimes or becoming involved in a crime. Most people don't agree with our curfew laws and would rather run the risk of being picked up by the police and ticketed for violation of curfew. However, they are more likely to run into the many real dangers that face us every time we go out at night.
We found that kids out so late are normally caught up in violence, traffic accidents, and we up to no good. Some of these kids still they're not aware of the law, and they're not educated on it.
Drinking, drugs, sexual predators, and gang-related activities are only few of the dangers we face regardless of how young or old you are. If you are under the age of 18, this law applies to you. What happens if you are caught? You will be taken to the station where the ticket is written out to you and your parent or guardian are called to pick you up. If your parent cannot pick you up, you will be placed into a protective custody or sent to a juvenile facility.
Guardian at something like an event such as Gorilla Beach.
The guardian is not just someone appointed to by the parents. A guardian is someone appointed by the courts.
You can legally stay out late if you are participating in a religious, educational, or political activity, accompanied by a parent or guardian, going to or from their place of employment, responding to some type of emergency, returning home from school, cultural, or recreation activity.
And that's our message, is not only enforcing the curfew violation, but also educating them that they need to stay home and stay safe.
The curfew laws are not just here to protect us, they're here to protect the safety of everyone in our community.
are investigating a series of bizarre and disturbing attacks that have left children in cities from coast to coast injured and fearing for their safety. As Global's Anna Gebauer tells us, the young victims were targeted simply because of the color of their hair.
They better and well. We begin with an Eyewitness News exclusive disturbing video of a gay man being beaten in Queens.
The individual was attacked simply for his orientation, and we're just not going to tolerate it.
The word hate is just unexcusable. It's a word that shouldn't be used, and to hate somebody for the color of their skin is just not right.
It creates fear among all of the community members.
I think it's wrong how people discriminate against others just because of the way they prefer people, as in gays or just their skin color. It's wrong, and something needs to be done. A hate crime is any criminal act directed against a person based on the victim's actual or perceived nationality, religion, sexual orientation, disability, gender, and especially race. Examples of hate crimes include acts which result in injury even if the injury is slight, threats of violence that look like they can be carried out, acts which result in property damage, any criminal act or attempted criminal act, including property damage directed against public or private agencies.
A suspect can spend up to 1 year in jail, and if it's a felony, it could either be between 2 and 4 years for a prison sentence.
If you believe a hate crime has occurred or will occur, you are very much encouraged to contact the Los Angeles Police Department or the We Tip hotline. Public cooperation is often essential in solving hate crimes. We Tip hotline, 909-987-5005.
Property theft has spiked in the area the past year due to easy access for thieves. Almost 80% of car theft occurs because of unlocked doors. Locking your doors takes a matter of seconds and can become so routine that you may forget whether you locked your doors or not. But it's worth the effort to double check. The more successful thieves are at taking items out of a car, the more chances they are going to come back to that area. Don't let our town be that area. One simple precaution is to hide or cover any valuable items when leaving your car unattended. Simple actions like these can prevent you from becoming a victim of property theft. The Los Angeles Police Department would like you to remember, lock it or lose it.
Okay, welcome back to the Los Angeles City Council, and we are back in open session. We're going to allow the members to take the time to come back in. I want to thank those for waiting outside. We're going to go ahead and go into general public comment. Dan, come on up. You've been very patient, so I'll take you first because I know you were here at the beginning of the meeting. So we're going to allow you your general public comment.
All right. Council members, good afternoon. We're going to have a big problem. I have an LAPD press pass, as you know. I was threatened with arrest, not only by Mr. Falble, the city attorney, but by Officer Duarte. I was threatened with arrest by an LAPD captain and sergeant if I crossed the line today. I guess City Council is unaware of something called due process. I guess you're unaware of the First and 14th Amendment. I've received no notice of revocation. I've received no documentation of an issue. I was threatened with arrest by 3 LAPD officers and the deputy city attorney today. You've caused me economic harm. You've caused me personal harm. And this happens right after I identify the criminal activity of Mr. Price. I'm going to file a claim for damages, and I will file a federal and state civil rights lawsuit. You will hear from me in court. Thank you.
In the
Thank
city
you very
of
much.
Los Angeles. We're on
Thank you
over
very
an
much.
acre with a 25,000
Aldo?
plus square foot.
Jacqueline? Mariko? No longer here. Cheyenne? No longer here. Miss Tweeny, we heard from earlier. She's no longer here. Tiana? No longer here. Irene? Is no longer here. Cherry? Shinkar? No longer here. Elizabeth Orick? Is no longer here. Okay. So that concludes the general public comment. And that should clear the desk.
Mr. President, for item 16, there's been a request to continue that matter 1 week to May 10th.
And that'll be the order without objection. Thank you very much. And do we have motions for posting and referral?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, we'll go ahead and post and refer those. Colleagues, do you have any announcements? Seeing none. If we can get everybody, please rise for adjourning motions. Okay, I have any adjourning motions over here? Seeing none, I have one, colleagues. Today I would like you to join me in adjourning in the memory of Mr. Richard Flattery of Granada Hills. Richard was born on April 29th, 1920. He would have celebrated his 97th birthday this past weekend. To those that knew him, Richard was incredibly thoughtful. He was very religious, but he was a kind-hearted man. And as a religious conscious objector during World War II, Richard refused to turn to violence, but he wanted to do something big. And so instead he became a smoke jumper, where he and his team would jump from airplanes to fight wildfires. He spent much of his life dedicated to helping others, and Richard and his wife opened their home to their neighbors who lost their homes after the Northridge earthquake. In fact, one of the neighbors he opened his home to was Greg Smith. He worked with Volunteers of America and assisted those in need throughout his community. Richard later became an executive director of the Maud Booth Family Center in North Hollywood. Richard had a passion for music, and in his free time, he was a musician in the Northridge United Methodist Church Band. He's survived by his 2 sons, Larry and Brad. He was a great and gentle man who was loved by the entire community and will be greatly missed by all who knew him. We'll adjourn in his memory. May he rest in peace. That seeing no other, we have Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize. This is not an adjournment, but before we wrap up for the day, I would just like to announce that Budget and Finance Committee, which is currently scheduled to begin again tomorrow at 9 a.m., will begin instead at 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. tomorrow, the Budget and Finance Committee's consideration of the budget will resume.
I thank you. My staff thanks you. We all appreciate that. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Be safe.